Let's talk about one of the most famous job interviews in all of history. God calling on Moses at the burning bush. We all kind of know the story, right? But what if I told you there's a whole hidden drama playing out just beneath the surface? A story of reluctance, respect, and family ties that we usually miss.
I mean, really think about that for a second. You get tapped for the mission of a lifetime, a chance to literally change the world, and your first, second, and third response is, no, you got the wrong guy. Because that's the core of what's happening here. Moses is chosen, but man, he really tries to get out of it.
So how do we get from the what to the why? Well, for that, we turn to one of the all-time greats of biblical commentary, Rashi. He's like the master detective of the text, reading between the lines, picking up on every subtle clue to uncover the hidden motivations. And his take on this story, it changes everything.
All right, so here's how it all kicks off. Before Moses can even start making excuses, God gives him the key, the one thing that will prove to everyone that his mission is legit.
God tells Moses, go to the elders and tell them I've taken note of their suffering. In the original Hebrew, that phrase is pakod pakadti. Now on the surface, that sounds like a pretty straightforward, comforting promise, right? Hey, I see you, I remember you.
But Rashi comes along and says, whoa, hold on. This wasn't just some nice phrase. It was literally a secret password. This exact wording, pakod pakodi, had been handed down for generations, a secret code the Israelites were waiting for. It was the sign that the real Redeemer had finally arrived. So God is basically giving Moses an unbreakable guarantee.
Now, you'd think, right? Secret password, mission guaranteed, Moses should be feeling pretty confident. But no. His very first objection shows he's not just doubting himself, he's doubting his own people. Even with the password in his back pocket, Moses immediately pushes back. He basically says, yeah, that's a great password and all, but what if they don't buy it? What if they think I'm a fraud? He's already questioning the faith of the people he's supposed to save.
God's response? He gives Moses 3 incredible signs to prove his power: a staff that turns into a snake, a hand that turns leprous. But here's where Rashi blows our minds. He says these aren't just cool party tricks. No, they're direct symbolic rebukes aimed right back at Moses for his accusation.
Okay, first the staff becomes a snake. Rashi says, think about it. Where do we first meet a talking serpent? Garden of Eden, right? The ultimate symbol of slander and deception. God is showing Moses, in a not-so-subtle way, you just slandered my people by accusing them of disbelief, so you're the one holding the snake right now. Woof, that's a powerful message. And if you thought the snake was intense, God isn't done. The second sign, Moses' hand becomes leprous. Rashi points out that in the Bible, leprosy is often the go-to physical punishment for slander, for lashon hara. Just ask Moses' own sister Miriam what happens later. God is doubling down, showing Moses physically, your words, your false accusations, they leave a stain.
Okay, so Moses has been given a secret code. He's been symbolically called out. Twice. And he still says no. This brings us to his most famous excuse, but Rashi's going to show us it's not what we think it is at all.
And this is the one we all know, right? Moses says, I can't do it, I'm not a good public speaker, I'm slow of speech. For centuries, we've read this as him having a stutter or some kind of speech impediment. A perfectly reasonable excuse, you'd think.
But Rashi, ever the close reader, looks at the specific Hebrew words Moses uses, not yesterday nor the day before, also, and he does the math. He realizes this wasn't a quick chat. This was a week-long argument. Moses wasn't just being humble, he was digging in his heels and debating God for 7 straight days.
So what on earth could make a man argue with God for 7 days? If it wasn't just a speech issue, what was the real problem? Rashi gives us this incredibly powerful, incredibly human answer. It wasn't about a stutter. It was about his brother.
See, what we forget is that Moses had been gone for decades. His older brother, Aaron, was already the guy. He was the established prophet, the leader in Egypt, and Moses just could not, would not, come waltzing back in and take his big brother's spot. His 7-day refusal wasn't about inability, it was about humility. It was about deep, profound family loyalty.
So after a full week of back and forth, Moses gives his final no. And this is the breaking point. God's patience finally runs out. But in that flash of anger, something amazing happens. A solution is forged.
The text says that God's anger glowed against Moses. And Rashi points out that whenever you see that phrase in the Bible, it's not just a passing mood. It always leaves a permanent mark. There's a real consequence.
And what was that consequence? Well, according to Rashi, it was huge. The high priesthood, the ultimate spiritual leadership of the people, was supposed to go to Moses. But because he hesitated for that week, that incredible honor was permanently transferred from his destiny to his brother Aaron.
But here's the beautiful twist. This consequence is also the solution to Moses' entire problem. God says, fine, you're so worried about Aaron? Then he's your partner. He will be your spokesman.
And to calm Moses' biggest, deepest fear, his worry about his brother's feelings, God tells him something amazing. He says that Aaron won't be jealous, he won't be resentful, just the opposite. When Aaron sees you, he will be glad in his heart.
And Rashi makes this beautiful connection. He explains that for that pure, selfless joy, for being genuinely happy about his little brother's success, Aaron gets this incredible reward. He's given the honor of wearing the high priest's breastplate, the hushan, with all its precious stones directly over that very same heart. His virtue is literally worn on his chest.
So when you look at it through Rashi's eyes, the whole story changes, doesn't it? It's not just about a reluctant prophet getting a job he didn't want. It becomes this profound lesson that true leadership isn't about one person's power. It's built on humility, on partnership, and on having a heart that can be genuinely happy for someone else's success.
And that really makes you think, doesn't it? In our own lives, in our own big missions, who is the Aaron to our Moses? Who's that person who supports us, who speaks for us when we can't, and who celebrates our victories with a truly glad heart? Because finding that person, that might be the key to everything.